Hey guys, I'm gonna quickly go over all the new Diablo 4 Season 2 bosses which have been permanently added to the main game and only available once you're in World Tier 3 and 4. The addition of these bosses make it much easier for you to target farm a particular unique item for your particular build. These bosses have different unique drop tables for each different class, and I'll put the links to the tables in the description. One advice I will give is to try your best to farm these bosses in groups so that you can form a rotation where you take turns spawning bosses. That way you're getting more than one kill per material, because if you're in a group and someone else uses their materials to spawn the boss and you all kill the boss, you will still get loot drops and have access to the unique drop table. The only caveat to this is if that boss kill drops materials for another boss, then only the player who used materials to spawn the boss will be able to get materials as a drop from killing the boss. Before we start, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's jump into the boss review. The first up is Grigore, the Galvanic Saint. He is level 75 and can be found in the Hall of the Penitent. The quickest way to reach him is to teleport to Kadbar Du in the Dry Steppes and just head south. To spawn the boss in World Tier 3, you'll need 2 Living Steel, and in World Tier 4, you'll need 5. Living Steel can be farmed from Hell Tides, mostly from the chests named Tortured Gifts of Living Steel, which cost 300 cinders. Grigore does lightning damage, so if you're struggling, just use an elixir of lightning res. As far as drops go, he does not have any uber uniques on his drop table. However, he does drop Penitent Greaves, which can be used by all classes, and he drops the ever important Shard of Agony, which is a guaranteed drop. The Shard of Agony is needed to fight Duriel, so if you're farming Duriel, you'll also be farming Grigore, which means you'll also be farming Hell Tides. As far as drop rates go, I recorded data from 20 Grigore kills, and the drop rate for a unique item is about 70%. There was only one instance this happened, which seems pretty rare, but I got 2 Shards of Agony from 1 kill, and it hasn't happened since. So although you are guaranteed 1 shard drop, I'd say there is a less than 5% chance to drop a second one in the same kill. Lastly, there's a small chance that Grigore will drop the Demon Biter Mount Armor cosmetic. The second boss is actually a boss that has returned from Season 1, which is the Tormented Echo of Varshan. He can be found literally right under the Tree of Whispers. There will be a malignant burrow just slightly to the left of the tree where you'll find him. He is also level 75, and in order to fight him in World Tier 3, you will need 1 Trembling Hand, 1 Blackened Femur, and 1 Gurgling Head. In World Tier 4, you'll still need the previously mentioned 3 materials, but in addition, you will also need 1 Malignant Heart. You can farm these materials guaranteed from opening Tree of Whispers caches, which you get every time you talk to the Tree of Whispers after getting 10 Tree of Whispers points. Not all 4 materials are guaranteed all at once, however, you can convert 1 material into another at the Occultist. You can also get these materials randomly by completing Legion events, World Boss events, Nightmare Dungeons, and Blood Harvest events. While going through a Nightmare Dungeon or Blood Harvest, or after the Legion or World Boss event, there is a chance for a grotesque debtor to spawn, and they will randomly drop one of the materials. The fastest way to farm the materials, in my opinion, is to do Tree of Whispers, which has been made very easy for us this season because Tree of Whispers can easily be farmed by engaging in this season's Blood Harvest areas. Varshan does shadow damage, so if you're struggling, just pop an elixir of Shadow Res. As far as drop rates go, I recorded data from 20 Varshan kills, and the drop rate for a unique item is about 70%. He does not have any uber unique drops on his drop table, however, he does drop Frostburn and Mother's Embrace, which can be used by all classes. He also has 5 new unique rings, 1 for each class, some of which are pretty cool. Every kill guarantees a drop of 1 Mucus Slick Egg, which is needed to fight Duriel. So if you're planning on farming Duriel, you're gonna need to farm Varshan, which means you're gonna need to farm Tree of Whispers. Lastly, there's a small chance he drops the Fleshweld Rod Trophy, which is a mount cosmetic drop, which I was lucky enough to get, as you saw in the clip. Our third boss is Zir. One very important thing to mention is you won't be able to fight this boss unless you've beaten him first in the seasonal quest line. Zir is going to be a main boss, so the seasonal quest line will either become a side quest or just unnecessary. After beating him in the quest, Zir is level 80 and can only be fought in World Tier 4. He can be found in the Darkened Way in Fractured Peaks just east of Kilvashad. To spawn the boss, you will need 9 Exquisite Bloods. The only way to get this material is in World Tier 4. You have to do the World Boss events, which drop 3 each, and Legion events, which drop 1 each. Zir also does shadow damage, so if you're struggling, just pop an elixir of shadow battle res. As far as drop rates go, I recorded data from 10 Zir kills, and the drop rate for a unique item is 100% because I got a unique item from each and every single kill. He does not have any Uber uniques on his drop table, however, he does drop Penitent Greaves, Razor Plate, and Temerity, which can be used by all classes. Lastly, there's a small chance he drops the Diadem of the Ancient Helm, which is a cosmetic helmet, which I was lucky enough to get, as you can see in the thumbnail for the video. Next up, we have the Beast in Ice. He can only be fought in World Tier 4 and is level 85. To spawn the boss, you need to go to the Occultist and craft a Glacial Fissure Nightmare Sigil. To make the sigil, you need 250 sigil powder, which you can get by doing Nightmare Dungeons or by salvaging Nightmare Dungeon sigils, and you will also need 9 Distilled Fears. These Distilled Fears are extremely annoying to get because they can only be gotten as a drop from completing a Tier 30 or higher Nightmare Dungeon. Even then, the drop chance from my experience is about 40 to 60% chance just to get one, which is truly awful considering the time it may take to farm them. For that reason, it is best that you target farm the easiest and fastest Nightmare Dungeons possible. My suggestion is Goa Ruins, and try your best to utilize a very high mobility build. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that the Beast in Ice does cold damage, so if you're struggling, just pop an Elixir of Cold Res. As far as drop rates go, I recorded data from 10 Beast in Ice kills, and the drop rate for a unique item is 100% because I got a unique drop from each and every single kill. Luckily, one of those kills actually gave me 2 unique drops, so it's definitely possible, and therefore I'd say the odds of getting a second one to drop are less than a 5% chance. He does not have any Uber uniques on his drop table, however he does drop Frostburn, Mother's Embrace, Fist of Fate, and Tacits of the Dawning Sky, which can be used by all classes. Lastly, there is a small chance he drops the Skull Torch Mount Cosmetic Trophy and the Fell Steed Mount Cosmetic Trophy, which I was lucky enough to get one of them as you saw in the clip. Last but certainly not least, we have big boy Uber Duriel. The Maggot King is the level 100 Echo and Uber version of the one you fought during Act 6 of the campaign. You can fight him in the Gaping Crevasse, which is just east of Gia Kull. To spawn the boss, you will need 2 mucus-like eggs, which you get from killing Varshan, and 2 Shards of Agony, which you get from killing Grigore, both of which were mentioned before in the video. You must dedicate your time to farming Helltides, Tree of Whispers, and world events in order to gather materials to fight Duriel, or you can buy materials from other players through trading. Just keep in mind it can get extremely expensive. Duriel does poison damage, so if you're struggling, just pop an Elixir of Poison Res. This is by far the most popular boss to fight because it is the only boss that contains Uber uniques on its drop table. Therefore, I want to emphasize once again the extreme importance in trying your best to kill Duriel in groups so that you can do rotations and get more kills out of your materials, so that you are grasping at that Uber unique drop table as much as possible. As far as drop rates go, I recorded data from 40 Uber Duriel kills, and the drop rate for a unique item is 100% because I was getting a unique drop from each and every single kill. Luckily, one of those kills actually gave me 2 unique drops, so it's definitely possible, and therefore I'd say the odds of getting a second one to drop is less than a 2.5% chance. As mentioned, he is the only boss with direct access to the Uber unique drop table, and therefore the best way to farm Uber uniques. He also does drop the Godslayer Crown, Flicker Step, Tybalt's Will, X-Files Corroded Signet, Soulbrand, and the Banished Lord's Talisman, which can be used by all classes. Lastly, there is a small chance he drops the Smoldering Brimstone Mount. One thing to keep in mind is that when doing rotations, after about 3 kills, your inventory will completely fill up if you've been picking up all the loot. So it's advised to take a small break every few kills to go bank and sort your gear. I also suggest that you should pick up the loot and look through it because from my experience, all loot dropped from Duriel will be the highest possible level of item power at 925. Therefore, you have the best odds of getting some really insane pieces of gear with the best rolls possible. So there you have it, all the new Diablo 4 bosses. There will most likely be more to come in the future, but this is what we have for now, and it's honestly a step in the right direction.